I wish proper good things to you who's watching this. Thank you, Max, and thank you, Pablo, for letting me know that I started this. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Okay, I do appreciate the collective effort. Um, Now the sound should be working just fine. So I think what might have happened is that you were hearing probably just the board game arena sounds, but now it is the opposite. I wasn't really saying that much, and I think maybe it's possible to later listen into recording. It's not that the mic was completely off; it was just like set to an extremely low volume. Maybe it's possible to then later, if you're very interested, to actually increase the volume. But yeah, I wasn't really saying that much. The main thing that I was referring to, of course, were the two vulnerable squares and the ability of red to create a Sophie's Choice block by taking a road over here. And this has not happened yet because neither of the players draws a road tile, so Kaika desperately needs a curve here. Really wants to go over here to secure the square. The city on the left is not such a big deal because even if the square is blocked, it has plenty of open squares to just be used as a dumping ground for good city tiles for developing it as a ruin. I also remember how my teammate with a screen name Mr. Numbers likes to call such cities. How do you translate this from Latvian? Garbage cans. In the sense that you can throw there some garbage city tiles which you don't need elsewhere. And at least you make sure that even if your meeple doesn't come back, you can develop that city on the left. Wow, that's actually interesting. I like that move. So the idea behind that move is acknowledging that the city on the left might be blocked, so black is trying to start yet another city with the idea that if he gets to complete that city, then his city points will be doubled, which of course is great for black. And the city on the left, well, we might complete it, we might not complete it. Main idea is that we first need to draw the starting tile and see. Now that Mr. Crocodile here manages to complete the Sophie's Choice block successfully, the chances of black completing this city on the left are really low. In order to accomplish that, he'll need to draw both starting tiles, so there's a 25% chance of that happening, and he also needs to avoid further blocking attacks, which is also a big if. Red, in the meantime, starts a new city, increases his scoreboard lead to +13. Black probably going to continue his city over here, sets up a monastery square, which probably benefits him more than his opponent, as he's the one that actually needs some variance into the game to come back from all these quick points. Also, I see that there's a bit of a trouble with this road, because in the long term it is pointing right into that city, so if this square gets blocked, then both of these meeples are going to be lost. It's an interesting move here from Kaika, so he chooses not to add a city point to himself, so that's a bit of an equity sacrifice, and his idea now is that he wants to try and block this square, and he wants to make sure that he needs the same tile that his opponent does. And so, for example, in the unlikely event that he draws both starting tiles for his two cities, then the added effect will be such that this square will be permanently blocked and red will not be able to get his road meeple back. So I'm not sure if such desperate measures are yet warranted, but certainly that's a possible move. Probably will need to follow up here with a couple of roads to block the square completely, not just partially. Red here with a wonderful splitter tile, probably going to finish the city at the bottom, start a new one, take your pick. Actually, no, finishing the city at the top was better. I'll tell you why. Because now what Kaika could do in theory, if they get something like a straight road tile, they could go over here, attack red city, and at the same time indirectly protect this little guy. So before this tile over here, this city was much safer, but now there are certain tiles which allow both interfering with that city and at the same time saving theirs. So that's why red finishes the other city as well. Red really is drawing a lot of city caps and drops a farm immediately. It's now worth only 3 points, but it will connect to this beautiful 9-point farm. And looks like we're up for quite a one-sided game. Yesterday's streams were also quite one-sided, or at least many of them were. But honestly, as the Malaysian, I probably just want to take this one easy and then really think about coming back in the second game. That's pretty much it. Just because these city caps are so nasty. On the other hand, 44 tiles still remaining. And there are still a couple of monastery spots. Here, for example, here, for example. We could still get a curve here and a starting tile. We could actually complete this long road all the way through here. We could even drop a farmer along the way and go over here and connect into the field through the city cap tile. So there are still plenty of options, and we kind of have meeples to do that. Like, all the good tiles that we need are still on the deck. So it's slightly unfortunate that these city caps gave an advantage to the United States representative. But, you know, the Malaysian can still do things here. This tile is not particularly useful, so there are two possible moves. One is going over here, harassing the city a little bit, or a stronger move just going over here, indirectly protecting the city on the left, but more importantly, rather directly attacking this meeple over here. This seems to be a case of misprioritization. I don't like this whole idea of hoping to draw both of these starting tiles. Like, eventually we will need to block that square. And also, what's more important, so now you see we have our meeple blocked. If we were to go over here and threaten the blockage of red's meeple, then red would have a choice. Either to go over here and block black's meeple, or to go over here and save red's meeple. Because one very potent defense technique of your meeples, it's actually attacking the meeples of your opponent. And this is something that the Malaysian player did not capitalize on. But even after the loss of his lone meeple on the right, although it's a big loss, there are still plenty of things to be done here in this game. A lovely shielded tile is being added to Black City. A couple of Doritos will turn it into a 10 or even a 12-point city. There are these lovely monastery squares still possible. Something like a regular monastery in a row and a monastery with a road are 18 points waiting to happen. The American with the cow tile does not have many good uses for it. He continues his city, the city of his own, but I'd rather see him breaking the city of black a little bit. He decides that it is not necessary, but this city over here becomes slightly vulnerable, so black could go over here and commit that city to a starting tile, and now Sophie's choice block 2 of red's meeples instead. But this move is actually a lot of fun. That's an excellent move here by Kaika. So look at this. First of all, it disrupts the road. More importantly, it breaks the loop. So it disrupts, even if it's possible to finish the road with some tiles, it's not possible to finish it easily. Second, it protects the city a little bit because now it's a bit harder to create a blocking platform or an attacking platform, and most importantly, it pre-builds an 8-point monastery right there in the center. And being the side that's behind, of course, Kaika is going for a bit of a gamble here, trying to draw the first regular monastery and get easy 9 points. The Malaysian gets a meeple back, now has 3 meeples, and meeple counts are important in this game because he needs them to capitalize on all these monasteries. Mr. Crocodile here with the road monastery. He would have loved to place it over here, but he can't because the square is blocked. But actually, to be honest, I'm actually tempted to do that anyway. So, I mean, we lose a meeple. Kaika also loses a meeple. Or actually, we just might go here without a meeple on the monastery. I'm not sure. A more standard move would be going over here, I guess. Just taking this 6-point monastery spot. Taking this 3-point road is also possible, but that seems like a bit of a waste of a monastery. It has the advantage of creating this attacking platform over here. A 5-point monastery is possible here, although 5 points is worse than 6, and this square here is a bit vulnerable. Yeah, and he goes here. He decides not to meeple this, and I guess I agree with that, but I really like that move because it does a lot of things spatially. So it's make sure that this guy is in the big field, and it also brings in this 3-point field into the field. And actually it's now extremely difficult for Kaika to attack this field properly. So in order to invade the field, we will need to place a tile over here. But as we place a tile over here, we further and further restrict this square. So with one more tile, red could easily block our invasion. Which means that in many situations, red here gets away with a 12-point field, so there are 4 completed cities on it, with just 1 meeple. He now drops another farmer here on the left for a 6-point field. There are all the chances in the world for it to be turned into a 9-point field and then some, as there are still 2 tiles that fit into this square. Kaika with the straight line. Probably might go over here. If his plan was to pre-build a monastery spot, he might as well go all the way. At some point he could attack the field, but I think going over here would be just a bit too early. Although, why not? We have 3 meeples. This square is actually not that easy to block. It's only possible to restrict it to a 50-50. So not the worst move for the Malaysian, and also it's such a platform that does not allow easy reconnections. With a couple of exceptions, actually. So Croco here could get a curve and drop a farmer like this, connecting to Black's farmer from above. So that's a possibility. But if that happens, that's not the end of the world. If anything, we just exchange meeples. So he drops a farmer, we drop a farmer, and instead of 3 versus 2 meeple advantage, we have a 1 versus 2 versus 1 meeple advantage, which is more powerful than 3 to 2 meeple advantage. Yeah, I wonder how it is Black with the blocked meeples, but also with the meeple advantage anyway. Black decides to get a straight line and block, or at least start blocking the city of red. That's a wonderful idea, but the way Black uses his road tiles, it's a bit, I feel a bit of a lack of focus, because these moves, of course, are not particularly profitable. You need to dump a road tile somewhere, to shape the board to your liking, maybe do some blocking attacks. But you also want to be consistent with your plan. So I feel like if we're going to block that square, we might have started earlier. And if we're going for this monastery spot, well, we might as well finish our plan as well. Or also, trying to block this road is not the worst thing in the world. Denying a curve. Croco here starts a new monastery next to Black City. Not sure how that is going to work out, as a quadruple city tile is drawn by the Malaysian. Probably a bit of an obvious move is to go here to continue his city and actually leave some chances of threatening the completion of that city in the future. An alternative is to add this point to the city of red, making it extremely difficult to complete at the price of immediate 2 points. He decides that he cannot afford to give points to his opponent, simply takes 2 points of his own. Now a regular city cap tile for Croco here. Could go over here to add a monastery point to himself, or could go over here to drop a city cap in his farm, then develop his field. could go over here and try to run away with this little 8-point city, but that would be bad. It would make the city easily blockable. Yeah, so he drops a city cap in his field, but I'm not a huge fan of the orientation for this tile. I would have preferred to turn it sideways and allow fewer city caps that allow the completion of this 4-point city. But at the very least, if we turn it sideways, and if somebody, whether that's black or red, takes these 4 points, then after that we can immediately get a curve and make it so that this field does not have any attacking platforms. Then we get the city cap over here, we score, and then we have a nice field for 12 points, which is very difficult to penetrate. Now, with this orientation, somebody's going to conclude that city, and this is probably going to be the Malaysian right now. It's certainly worth spending a move on cleaning off the city cap in your opponent's field. And then with that, this will open a connection platform here, a connection platform here, a connection platform here. So there'll be multiple ways of equalizing this field, but black chooses something else. This is pretty interesting. So he decides to leave the city open, which I'm not a huge fan of, and slightly restrict this road. And his idea is to start and fight for the main farm on the right, as Croco here is the first one to get the 8-point monastery. So this gamble did not pay off for Kaika, but because it's an 8-point monastery, not a 9-point monastery, maybe there's a chance to at least get a cow tile and block that square. So that would certainly be a nice compensation for the Malaysian. Now a great tile for black, a crossroad tile that allows us to get a meeple back. Remember that this road was pointing into that dead square. Now, of course, it's no longer does so. But red has the time to develop his city at the bottom, and that's why I was talking about moves like these. Like if you want to do stuff like this, then you do this earlier and more consistently, so that at the very least you can restrict the square. So now really these two moves didn't do nothing in particular, as red successfully developed his city, now preparing to draw 2 more Doritos to get his meeple back, or just 2 back-to-back city caps in case of emergency. But still 6 Doritos still in the deck, so that will be a relatively easy completion of the city, unless of course Kaika decides to go over here and break the red city even further. But the question is, can we even afford to do that? Because when we're behind, we typically don't want to be spending moves on blocking. I feel that the more important move is actually go over here, because there's so many road tiles that give our opponent a meeple back immediately. Prioritization, my friend. Blocking the monastery was way more important. Crocodile here gets a meeple back. I feel like it was a big mistake actually from the Malaysian player. We could have blocked that city a little bit later. And I'm saying this not because the American drew a road tile, but simply because the American could have drawn a road tile. That's something that we need to prevent. And also, blocking that square would have, with so many extra threats, this would actually be setting up another blocking platform against this road over here. Yeah, because look at this. It's such a big missed opportunity. So we would go over here. Red would get a straight road without any gray tile to place it. Then we could draw a Dorito tile and go over here and permanently block this road. Because 1, 2, 3, all 3 dagger tiles have already been used up. While Croco here finishes another road, it gets another meeple back, but Kaika follows through with his plan of completing a city and dropping a farmer. It comes at a price though. He would have loved to spend this tile over here, scoring 4 points for the road and building up his city indirectly, but the field attack move was pretty urgent. Had he not done that, the American would have gone over here, making it harder to complete the city and ensuring that even if he were to complete the city, he would not be able to drop a farmer. But an excellent move here as a response from red. Re-attacking the farm and re-attacking with some extra value, because there's still 3 tiles that left fit into that square, He will probably be drawing it, and in fact, probably Kaika should go there now, allow the invasion into the field, but at the very least, he'll be taking these 8 monastery points and probably soon turning them into 9. But this puts Red ahead on the field again, and this means that Black will need to find another attacking platform of what seems to be a very closed field. But actually I see some opportunities. They're all quite far-fetched, but they could work. So first of all, of course, we need to finish our monastery. Then we could get something like the last remaining straight line. No, we couldn't, because the last remaining straight line was this one. So there are no straight lines remaining. No, this was the last remaining straight lines, and no straight lines anymore. But we could get something like a curve: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, so there's one curve remaining. Maybe going over here, dropping a farmer like this, and then connecting through another curvy tile. You know, the usual ninja farmer. That is risky, but that's something that we might resort to. But a more efficient way of farming would be actually waiting for one of the Dorito tiles, finishing this city at the top with a road Dorito tile, so with triangle city with a road, and then dropping a farmer on the outside of a curve and trying to connect to the farm like this through over here, maybe even finish meeple some roads in the process. So actually Kaika could calmly take these 4 points for a road, hope that Croco doesn't block, then he could get the Dorito with a road tile, drop a farmer here, then on the next move get another curvy tile, meeple this road, and then get the final curvy tile of the move after that. Then he would later on so go like this, take a 7-point road over here, and even drop a 6-point farmer further. So these, of course, are quite wild fantasies and require an extremely specific run out of tiles, but it's something that's theoretically possible, and while it's theoretically possible, Black can use such opportunities to win the game. The crossroad tile is still in the Malaysians' hand, as they don't seem quite content with the idea of taking 4 points. I know that they must be considering a couple of other moves. Yeah, that's also a legit opportunity, so that looks like it temporarily obstructs their city, but really not by much, and if anything, it just makes sure that there's still 3 tiles available that fit into that square. And now finally Croco drops the first of the 2 starting tiles, expands his field, so that's an 8-point move over here with a chance to get a meeple back. Yeah, so that was just waiting to happen. Again, it was only a 25% chance that we would actually be able to prevent our opponent from getting a meeple here. Kaika still actually playing really well later, so this city worked really nicely. Some opportunities for road scoring. Black, of course, will need to find a way into the main fields, but I really don't see that happening anytime soon, because Black also needs to invade over here. Yeah, you know, maybe Black could just actually drop 2 farmers, overrun this field somehow. For example, I can see still monasteries are available, and he could go here, connect with a monastery like this, go here, connect through a monastery over here, overrun this 12-point field, preserve his little 3-point meeple without connecting. Then a red would have 15 total field points here. Black would have 3 field points here, 12 here, and 6 here for a total of 21. Again, the fantasies do get quite wild. I doubt that red is going to allow this, but we have to dream here if we are the Malaysian. Now, I don't have any sympathies in particular, so I'm supposed to be a neutral observer. Do let me know in the chat if you're rooting for the Malaysian or for the American here. Also, very curious to see that we do seem to have, of course, fewer than normal, but we do seem to have viewers here. Most of my European viewers are, of course, asleep, but there's still the Western Hemisphere wide awake. But anyway, if you have any sympathies or predictions, you're always welcome to share those. I have some sympathies for the Malaysians simply because I saw them play before. I saw them make some good moves, and again, defeating Craft Giraffe is a feat that should not be underestimated. In this game, they had some tough draws, but I felt like they did not necessarily make the most out of them. So for example, this move over here is not really strong at all, because this square is blocked. There's nothing that fit here. Both monasteries have gone out. All the 9 curves have gone out. Let's do a quick recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So there are no curves like this. So there's actually nothing that fits into this square. So what this move does, it's saying I'm trying to connect through the farm over here. But then if you're going to do that, why don't you just go over here and cut out the middleman and simply take 1 fewer tile? Yeah, and this also allows easy scoring opportunities for red here, so he takes advantage of these 4 points. And I was talking early on stream because we had some one-sided games here. Hi, Victor. And when one side is behind, a very difficult skill in Carcassonne is to decide how much do you have to risk, because you always have to risk the appropriate amount. If you're behind by a bit, you need to risk a bit. If you're behind by a lot, you need to risk by a lot. How much is a bit? How much is a lot? It just depends on so many factors. The exact score, the exact tiles remaining, what are the scoring opportunities in the position, and so on. What are the field shape, like Kaik now just adding a point to his blocked city, about the best that he can do. Kroko is thinking whether it's worth spending his last tile on the city cap over here. He decides against it. Kaike here with a city cap tile gets much needed 4 points. He has to score any point he can get. Kroko with more stuff for his scoring opportunities. And the city at the bottom will not be completed, but some solid 9 points, 10 points, 11 points, maybe even 12 points. He is probably thinking which of the squares to continue. I don't think it should have much of an influence. I note also that there's still some invasion opportunities for both fields, as there's a crossroads still available. So we could connect over here by scoring 2 points. And then there's also one of these tiles available. So in theory, we could connect over here like this through another crossroads. But the problem is that we're running really short on road tiles. So actually, there's no curve remaining, and there are no straight lines remaining, so we can't just go here and drop a farmer easily. The American with the shielded tile still. Victor is saying, isn't he thinking about starting a new city? Maybe, but since he didn't do it on the last turn, I would doubt that he'd do it now, because in his last turn he had the same tile and he had a chance to start a new city on the left. Now if he were to start a new city, this would be this city over here, in a situation where we have 1 fewer city cap available, and also the city is a bit more vulnerable, and he decides against it. So I'm pretty sure he was just debating between which square to occupy. Also, I'm not sure if we even have city caps available, and we did. Oh yeah, we did. So vanilla city caps, of course. I think this one, the last one. Yeah, splitters are out, all 5. Starting tiles, of course, are out. Those were the main tiles that we were focusing on in the game. Barbed wire tiles are out, and all the 6 daggers have been used up over here. So Kroko with a scoring tile has 2 options here. So he could either go here, score some quick points, or he could go over here and just cover up the field invasion over here, because there's still an option for Kaika to draw crossroads and a monastery and then invade the field. But he decides that it doesn't really matter. He's just too far ahead. He adds stuff to his scoreboard. Kaika with a scoring tile, so a nice 3-point opportunity for the Malaysian. Beautiful. Back-to-back horse tiles. I don't think there are many other things to be considered. Yeah, so normally like a move like this would be a consideration. That would be kind of a common tactic, dropping multiple farmers and then trying to connect them with just one tile. So being very efficient, but it's not possible because, again, there are no tiles that fit into that square anymore. And still, the Malaysian, despite being so far down, is trying to deliver his best endgame. And yeah, simply scoring seems to be best. Now, what are some options for the players? I just want to check the remaining tiles. So a crossroads still available, 2 monasteries still available. That's actually is really a lot. There was this tile now for Croco. Not sure what he's gonna do here. Going here is actually a real good option. Yeah, lovely move. Not only does it add 1 point to his field, it also prevents Kaika from going here and trying a proper invasion. So there are no tile in the deck that fits in this square at all, and even if there were such a tile, it would actually cover the invasion opportunities against this meeple anyway. So the Malaysian probably going to go with their highest scoring move of simply dropping a 9-point farmer over here, with a chance to draw the last crossroads and expand this farm to 12 points. Yeah, but this sad little guy will stay here with just 3, and I think there was simply a case of miscounting the tiles. I assume that the Malaysian must have thought that there was a curve still available, and they do end up dropping the farmer. Had they not done this, the American player would have done this. They're probably not even going to bother going over here. The highest scoring opportunity for them is actually to take this 5-point monastery, because they would also be adding a 6th point for this monastery, and then they're setting up a move with a city tile, which I believe might still be remaining. Yes, there is. There's still a Dorito with the road. And that move would allow them to score 1 city point and 1 monastery at the same time. And this is exactly what happens. Kaika gets the field expansion to bring his leftmost farmer up to 12 points. And Croco is going to have the last Dorito with the road for 1 city point. And oh, wait. What am I doing? This is Black City, of course. This is not Red City. So it actually didn't matter whether to meeple this 5-point monastery or this 6-point field. They all score the same. And of course, Red will be adding the city tile to this here part. Of course, he'll be building his city rather than his opponent's. So we congratulate the American on taking down the first game. We will find out the exact score soon enough, but of course the exact point difference doesn't matter at all. Wait, I put the 1 in the wrong place. Reminder to y'all that this is a best of 3. So in order to have any chances in this match, it's a must-win situation for the Malaysian. And the American player with the screen name crocodilefundy is 1 game away from the main stage of the Carcassonne Champions League. farmer points are being scored. Not a lot of those for black, a lot of those for red, and a 21-point difference as a result. So Kaika is suggesting a 3-minute break, which is great for us. I might want to boil some hot liquids, as it is not the warmest season in Europe now. Yeah, I kind of felt that, well, it was a difficult situation for black, but maybe some things could have been done. Maybe blocking this monastery, maybe some more aggressive invasions of the field. Maybe just being a bit more consistent with his plans, because like he drew a lot of road tiles, but ended up sort of throwing them around in a couple of places. Because like normally if you start blocking attacks, you want to finish up those blocking attacks. And there were many blocking attacks that were started but weren't quite finished. So this one over here, the road ended up scoring. These 2 tiles over here, and this kind of stuff just really adds up. So especially when you're behind, you really want to be spending tiles in a way that benefits you a bit more directly. But now it's going to be a completely new game. We will now go to the players' profile pages and simply start refreshing until they come back. As you can see, Croco very experienced. 11,000 games in total. Of course, this involves not only Carcassonne, but over 5,000 Carcassonne games, which is more than any other games. Joined back in 2020. Right, I will be boiling the kettle and be back in about 70 seconds. And we're back. Let's check if game 2 has started yet. And it has. Let's try to see who had the starting player advantage. So luckily on Board Game Arena they put this new marker over here. So we don't even need to do retro analysis. The Malaysian players started, so they're going to have a bit of a statistical advantage here. They took advantage of the first city cap. They're now 4 points ahead on the scoreboard. But overall, an equal position, as red has a piece of road at the top and red has a piece of city at the top. Of course, a slight advantage for black, as black has his own constructing projects at the bottom. Interesting tile for Croco here, no? So, no obvious move. We could go here, just add the point to our city, This would slightly obstruct our road, but that ain't no big deal. Or we could try to be really efficient and go over here with the intention of starting a new city like this. This would take advantage of both the road and the city element, and this is exactly what he does, but the downside is that this city piece becomes more vulnerable, and a great move from Kaika, taking the 2-point monastery in a way that controls the city. And now a straight line's going to come over here, a curve's going to come over here, and he's going to be pressuring these two squares really hard. Now a great draw for the Malaysian as well. Also, like, a wonderful move from Croco. This actually is an amazing move. I'm so surprised. So the idea behind this move was not only to start a 2-point road and create a bit of an attacking platform against this city cap of black, but it was also to try and block black's road. If black were to ignore this road, then red could get a curve, add 1 point to black, and go over here and make sure that there's only one tile that fits into the square, because look at these two tiles, two dagger tiles that have been drawn. Also, an interesting configuration as Croco tries to block Kaika's other city, and the Malaysian immediately draws a tile to recover, and then they get 2 extra points as compensation. But as a result, we have a bit of an unusual tile run out, as many city plus road tiles have been drawn. Kaika now draws another one, and look at this. 3 barbed wire tiles all next to each other. So this will mean that blocking is more dangerous in this game, and both sides should adjust to the tile runout and build their cities a bit more cautiously than usual. And the Malaysian player realizes it, so instead of connecting to red city, which would very often be a normal move in this position, because it is a 1-point city cap and red has a 2-point city, so it makes sense to equalize, black actually tries and to block. So black's plan is to finish the city and then place something at the top to restrict the square, and then go here, 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 and build around this. And because there are now fewer city plus road tiles remaining, the blocking chances are greater, because even though red can still fit some tiles into the square, statistically, he will need to wait more time for a tile that fits here, because fewer of them are available. And this would give more time for Kaika to do stuff like this. So as black, I guess we just go here and then try to get one of the many city plus field caps to finish the city and restrict that square. That is relatively safe move. Going over here would actually be not such a good move, because with any road tile we could get an easy defense. But even after defense, so this is interesting. Let's say even if we go over here, red gets a road tile to defend. After that, we can block 2. We can go over here, get a curvy tile, and commit the square to a clover-shaped situation, you know, to this tile over here, taking advantage of the fact that all 3 of the clover tiles have gone out. I've started using barbed wire and clover interchangeably. Barbed wire tile is just like my own association, because I know I see all these crossings that just look so ragged that it reminds me of barbed wire, especially when these 3 tiles are back to back like this. It kind of looks like a barbed wire fence. Black goes with my suggestion. It doesn't work, but still 6-point city for black, 6-point city for red, so that's a wash in that sense. Yeah, but these tiles have also started to call them clovers sometimes. That's because in the Brazilian way of calling tiles, and that's a community where I spent a lot of time, they call crossroads clovers, and that tile over here they call fechamento com trevo, which means a closing tile with a crossroads, and I kind of like that association with a clover leaf I found quite fun. 3 pieces of a road and 3 leaves to a clover, so I thought that's quite clever. But it sounds better in Portuguese than it does in English, so I don't use it that very often in streams. Alrighty, so Kaika now, 11 points advantage on the scoreboard. Try something very interesting here. So, it's very interesting to observe that, like, the player who gets the better tile often also starts making better moves as a result. And the player who draws worse also starts playing worse. So, Kaika now just playing so much better than the previous game, so being really, really aggressive with that blocking, but also Croco managing to find some nice threats as well. The idea behind this move, okay, this one was a mistake for sure. For sure, we're gonna go with that in a second. So, the idea behind this move is, of course, to control this square over here, not allow Croco to finish an easy road, and if Red wants to finish an easy road, then he'll be adding city points. So what Black's going to do, he's going to build around all these squares like this, and then, if he can, he's going to complete his city by finishing the square, the shared square last. So, the main idea is that it's a scenario in which it's impossible to lose. Either you get an incomplete city which outscores your opponent's road for the same meeple investment, or you get a completed city with a boatload of points. The downside, of course, and why I didn't like Black's previous move, is that Black actually allowed Red to easily complete the city. What Black should have done, instead of going for this idea, just taking a triangle and placing it like this was way, way better. Like, there was no reason to allow this 8-point city for Crocodile. Especially in a situation where we know that so many city plus road tiles gone out, and that means that so many city plus field tiles have not gone out. And so, especially with the Dorito with the field, what you are doing here as Black, you are basically defending Red City. So, completed city for Red. Now, this is a proper attack, because it's a city plus road tile. Black is starting a new city. He'll be looking to go over here, then complete the city and do, inflict all this pain. Now, Croco is trying to be extremely aggressive with the scoring, stacking monasteries. I have to agree with him. He's a bit behind, and also it's not really that difficult to, not really that easy to block. But an excellent tile for Kaika. A variety of options here. The one which I like best is actually going over here, scoring 2 points for the road. That is a net 0 point move, because that would be adding. What would that be adding? Just yeah, so 2 points to the monasteries as well, 1 monastery point each, but it would disrupt this road, and that's more important. And now Red would need city plus road tiles in so many places, because the thing that Red can do now, you can easily draw one of the many remaining curves, one of the 7 curves, and build his road like this, and with that move we could have disrupted. Now, Black is continuing his city here, and that's a lovely idea. So, he's going for the lip-shaped pattern, triple city over here, Dorito over here, and the final Dorito over here, possibly with a farmer. This is all lovely, lovely stuff, except he could have done that later. First, we do this painful move, and then we do this with the other triple city tile, of which there's still 3 remaining, and then we do all that. So Black still has the advantage here, but it could have been way more aggressive, and I felt like this move gave him just a higher win percentage. Okay, Black, instead of a Dorito tile, draws a city cap tile, but the purpose is all the same. It manages to cover up the city quite nicely, leaving still 2 tiles that fit into that square. And then again, only positive scenarios here for Black. Either these 2 meeples get stuck, but this guy is scoring 7 points now, whereas Red is scoring only 3, so a slight advantage for Red. Or Black draws one of the 2 remaining dagger tiles, completes his city, gets 16 points for the city, and even drops a 9-point farmer over here. That's actually a devastating sequence. So certainly massive advantage here for the Malaysian player. Croco is building his ruin at the bottom, which makes sense. The fate of this city is tied together with the fate of the Black Monastery, and really Black has no incentive to develop this monastery further. Red will not be completing the city, but he can still add points. He can maybe get a cow tile or an extender to take advantage of this dropped shield over here. The biggest issue for Croco in the position is simply this threat over here. Now he also has a meeple almost blocked, only one tile that fits into the square, so this is really not great. Building up his monastery, Kaika now with a curve, no obvious moves, so we could maybe go here and just continue the blocking attack. This would also make sure, okay, so he says he goes here and he drops the farmer straight away. A tiny bit premature if you ask me. Yeah, because, like, what's the point of dropping a farmer if the field is only 6 points? We only want to drop the farmer if the field is going to be 9 points. And also, oh, what a nice move from Croco, covering up this field entirely. So in the unlikely event, and by unlikely I mean 25% of the time, that red draws both dagger tiles that fits into that square, then suddenly it's black that's in trouble. Red can use the daggers over here to complete his road using 2 curves. Then he is going to have a meeple extra, which he'll immediately drop on a field. These 2 empty city caps he'll take advantage of and develop his field further. He'll finish the monastery as well, get a meeple majority, have a bigger field over here, whilst this guy here will be stuck at 6 points. So this is a very real way how, with a nice tile draw, the American could hurt the Malaysian again. Road monastery tile for black. No obvious monastery placement. Oh, there's one move which I really like, but it's very hard to spot. Over here, with the meeple on the monastery, controlling the 2 monasteries of red. This one's also okay, but this is just okay. This was, I think, slightly stronger, because he would be freeloading from some points that red would provide for him, whilst red is completes his own features. And he could even drop some tiles over here and try to exhibit additional pressure on these squares. Red now gets a road back, pre-builds a 3-point road for himself, and Kaika now has a chance to play my favorite move. Yes, exactly, Victor. The Ukrainian technique. Going over here, meepling this city, impeding the development of these monasteries, and creating a chance to build up a city over here. By far the strongest move in the position. I don't see anything better. And the pool of unseen tile is such that makes this move even stronger, because there are still a couple of tiles that go over here, namely these ones. And we're denying so many curves to our opponents, because there are still 5 regular curves remaining. Then they're probably forced to go over here to take this road, but this helps in turn our monastery. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's black gonna do here, but anything except that move will be just a bit weaker. Like, it's possible to make a normal move, start a new city over here, that's actually also okay. That builds up the monastery. Yeah, this is the second best move. The best move was this one. Because now Croco can just go over here. He might even meeple another monastery. That's not the worst situation. He might just go here for a 5-point monastery, controlling 2 features of black as well. But what I like about this move is that it would secure this square. It would make sure that one of the 5 remaining curves still fits there. And an easy chance to develop this side of the monasteries, bringing himself 2 meeples back and having another 6-point monastery to develop. So let's see what red does in this situation. So by the way, also just wanted to point out, had black gone over here, now this monastery move would no longer be possible. The American really thinking here for a long time. 1 minute and 12 seconds still on his clock. And of course the time will be regenerated every now and then. By every now and then I mean every turn. Victor is asking what time it is there. It is pretty late actually. I think should be a 5-hour difference. I think it should be 10 p.m. But the thing is, like, I don't know. I forgot where exactly crocodilefundy is located. I think this might be even the West Coast, in which case it's a bit an earlier evening. But yeah, the US is not like Brazil. The US has 4 time zones. 4 continental time zones, that is. But I know for sure that Croco is not from Hawaii. Yeah, so he goes for the 5-point monastery spots just to equalize the monastery of black, to freeload a bit, gets a crossroad tile, gets his road points. Also setting up quite nicely an opportunity to get back-to-back curved tiles to get another 4-point road over here. With the development of his monasteries, 1 tile away from getting a meeple back. And now he gets a crossroad tile, and it's a big dilemma here. What's more valuable in this position? 3 road points or the defense? The defense would give him a 50% chance of getting a meeple back, but these road points give him tangible road points. But what I like about this move is that it also sets up an attack on this monastery. In addition, Kaika spends a tile on blocking this square, which allows Croco to get a 4-point road over here, which is absolutely lovely. A 4-point road also for Kaika, so they exchange, but look how much quick point scoring in this last move, and the Malaysian gets monastery meeple back. Yeah, the game has become like very close to equal recently. That's just because I keep forgetting about this guy. This here is a ticking time bomb. Red has, of course, wonderful monasteries, and if this guy stays the same, I like prefer red positions, but it's so unlikely that it's going to stay the same, and red completes the monastery, but I'm surprised that red doesn't drop a farmer. Again, a good move getting monastery meeples back, but if you're going to do it with a divider and there's still plenty of city caps remaining, why not just go over here and start chomping on these little city caps, turning it very quickly into a 9-point field? That's all a real possibility. Kaika, in the meantime, meeples a 3-point field at the top with the intention of getting a curve and expanding it to field to 6 points, or maybe even getting back-to-back curves over here and expanding it even further to 9 points. The American adds just 2 points to his city, which I quite dislike, actually. I would have preferred 2 points over here limiting black's field, adding myself a monastery point, and making sure that my points are liquid assets, because he's adding 2 points to himself, and 2 city points and 2 road points is pretty much the same thing. But this city could in theory be invaded in the future, whereas if you score quick points, well, your scoreboard cannot be invaded, at least if you're playing according by the rules. And that was a tiny bit safer. But I think the reason why he didn't want to do this is that he does not want to restrict the square, and he might use the square to place a road tile over here in the future to restrict the options for Black City, because actually Black City is pretty menacing. With a couple of city caps is going to turn into a 12-point construction, which is 12 points too many if you ask the American. Hi, Benjamin Ramos. Thank you for confirming Crocodile's location, that it's in the East Coast. So wait, which means that it should be now 10 p.m., right? I think the difference with UTC time zones was 5 hours. So Kaika just keeps adding points to his ruin, and finally, the dagger tile comes to the Malaysian, and look at these wonderful scoreboard points, 13 points extra for black, and 9-point field over here, 6-point field over here, all unblockable stuff. So Croco needs to work hard. First of all, invasion on the left, nice. The city was a bit too dangerous. Actually, I need to double check if there are many tiles remaining. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So only one Dorito that fits into that square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So only one big tile as well. So that's a bit iffy actually, but still we have to risk it a little bit when we're behind, and the American understands that for sure. Kaika can now be a bit greedy if he wants. He can go here and try to draw a splitter tile, which would allow him to complete the city, but with a lead that's actually not necessary. I'm probably thinking about scoring 4 points over here, or maybe just going over here, expanding my field, and more importantly, not allowing red to get a road tile and drop a 6-point farmer off his own. The Malaysian might also be thinking about something else. I was thinking about the invasion over here, but this is way better. Yeah, that's actually probably the strongest move. It's really a nice find here by black. So he drops a farmer on what's the biggest unoccupied field. That's why I would have loved a farmer here early as Croco. He has so many unused meeples with so few tiles remaining, but a fantastic draw as he continues his monastery and finally equalizes the threatening city of black. Now 1 tile away from getting 1 more meeple back, but you gotta use those meeples still. Kaika could now go over here and deny this field to red. Yeah, the reason why this farmer is so good is not only because it scores 6 points, but also because of these 2 city caps. So a potential 9 or even 12-point field. With limited invasion opportunities, Kaika, excellent move, develops his farm, adds 3 points to it, and makes it impossible to attack. But Croco gets 2 points for the road, gets 1 point for the monastery, gets a meeple back, and you bet that now red will be dropping farmers left and right in an attempt to attack and equalize the field. I'm wondering if that's going to be too late, but we're kind of equal on the scoreboard. But that's not enough because we're losing fields, at least for now. Wait, but we also have this wonderful ruin, actually. So maybe it would be time to do a points count, but I don't think we have the time. So what could we do? We could clean off the city cap over here, just score 4 immediate points, and then try to invade through here later. Oh, we could go here and either take 4 points or even drop a farmer straight up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's still 1 curve remaining. And if we drop a farmer here, that's a 50-50 chance of invasion. And he does that. Lovely stuff. I wonder if that's being a bit too desperate too soon, but worst case scenario, if he doesn't invade, he can just get a straight line that goes over here, and he'll have a 6-point field of his own, so that was still worth doing. Kaika with a city cap. And here's the thing for the Malaysian. He should actually be a bit disciplined and not go over here. Because this looks like a very strong move, taking 4 points for the city and creating a blocking platform over here. But this could really backfire, and Black realizes this. If Black were to go on the left and take these 4 points, there are scenarios where Red draws this tile, goes over here, drops another farmer, then gets a curve, and then wins this field with a 2 meeple majority, which would be a crushing blow. Red develops his ruin even further. Black now with an excellent road, plenty of options here. I probably prefer just meepling a 5-point road straight up. But maybe it's worth dropping a farmer somewhere. Maybe here for a potential invasion. There are no monastery tiles available, but there is one vanilla city cap that could be used for an invasion like this. And this would mean that in order to equalize the field, Croco would need to draw both the curve for the connection over here and the vanilla city cap to deny Black the connection on the right. So it's always nice when, with your move, you can force your opponent to get a more specific tile draw than they need. The more specific the tile sequence, the less probable that is. And win probability here is everything in this game. So how are we doing on the scoring? So 6 points on the scoreboard for Kaika. Shared city over here. 8 points monastery versus a 3-point monastery. So that's 5 for Croco and 1 for Croco on the block city. So that's actually a complete wash. Now, Red has a 1, 2, 3, 13-point city. Not too shabby really here on the right. Kaika has a 3-point monastery over here, so that's plus 10 for Red. But Black has the fields. 9 points here, 9 points here, that's 18. Even if these farms were to equalize, I still haven't counted them in, then Black will be 5 points ahead. Well, maybe 4 points ahead if I'm going to count this over here. Yeah, Black just adds 1 point to his monastery. I wonder why not just take the 5-point road. Take the 5-point road. What else do you need the meeple for? Take the 5-point road. Actually, Croco has no really good chances to win. I mean, really good is a bit of a stretch, but a clear plan to win. He could drop a farmer here and simply try to draw the sequence of city cap plus curve. And that would surely work. He could also try and go over here. But I don't think that would work because other than the regular curve, the very few remaining curvy tiles remaining. But actually, there's a dagger. There's 1 dagger tile remaining. So if he goes over here, drops a farmer, and he can still get a dagger tile to connect through the outside of a curve. Are there other ideas here for winning? Oh, yes, there are. He could also go over here and then try to benefit from the dagger in another way. If he goes over here and the later draws the dagger that still fits into that square, he would be adding 1 point to his city and 1 point to Black's monastery, so that's a wash. But he would be connecting these 2 Black farmers And so he would unify 2 9-point fields into one big 12-point field, because there are 4 cities on this total. So instead of 9 plus 9, the farmer scoring would turn into 12 total. So that will be a net -6 for black, which could be just enough for red. And it's just so possible that black might not recognize the threat or might not have a tile to block the square. Probably the move that I prefer most is not this one. Well, Kaike manages to draw the tile that he needs anyway. Yeah, I would really count on drawing the curve, because I guess like 3 immediate points is very nice, but as red, you gotta understand that you have to hope for the curve in order to win. I would have probably preferred dropping a farmer over here, realizing that my position is not great, and I'm just going to try to draw both the city cap and the tile over here. This would have forced Kaike, for example, into spending a valuable tile just on blocking my field entrance. Now he can easily score 4 points, although I wouldn't do that. But in theory, he could score 4 points. Or maybe a stronger move is to still go over here for this invasion. Or just going over here. Yeah, oh, that's an even stronger move. Look at this, look at this. Going over here, meepling a 5-point road. Yeah, there we go, he finds it. Leaving an empty city cap in his field, which he can capitalize on to score 7 extra points. So that could be a potential 12-point sequence. Yeah, so the Malaysian here is just playing really, really well, knowing his counter threats. And I believe that should seal the deal. Even though Croco gets a good tile, he gets a splitter, but no ways to employ that super productively. Or actually, we can still go for the same idea. So dropping here, hoping for the curve plus city cap combo, but the closer to the end of the game we make that decision, the lesser the probability. So actually with 4 tiles remaining, that's only a 10% chance. Yeah. So, I mean, because there are 5 tiles unseen to us. Instead, he just takes 7 immediate points, 4 points for city cap, and 2 points there. I guess he knew that Kaike would have a curve. Ah, but of course there was this idea of going over here for an invasion, so that was also nice, because the quadruple road tile is still available, so that's what this move was doing. I still would have preferred waiting for the curve. I think it was a necessity, but you know, whatever, that's sort of nice creative idea, and as a result, red does end up with a nice 6-point farmer here. And he gets the city cap as well. But no obvious place to use it. Or is there? I think I'm seeing something. Oh, I think I'm seeing a 1 in 3 winning chance. How about we go over here and drop a farmer. And we try to connect to the field like this through the one remaining hourglass tile. Because look at this, one of those is here and one of those is here. Where's the third one? The third one is still in the deck, and red would go here and this connection would be unblockable, and he would be also getting 2 extra city points in the process. So a potential 14-point sequence with the last meeple for red. Red now chose a 12-point sequence if he's successful, but also it is blockable. So I believe that... So what is this final tile? So the final 2 tiles... Oh yeah, so the final 2 tiles are the quadruple crossroads and the tile that I was talking about. Yeah, so the move that I was suggesting was just simply better. I think he just simply didn't see that idea. Again, am I missing anything? No, I don't think so. So the crossroads, quadruple crossroads, and that tile over there. Yeah, because the reason why this move is worse is, first of all, it scores less. It scores 12 instead of 14. And look at this. He would have drawn that tile even. And so he will end up getting only 10 for his last meeple. So 3 for this farmer, and now a 7-point move over here. And the threat to connect to the field that he had was actually blockable. So instead of a 33% chance, he was getting himself a 16% chance. Moreover, if red was hoping for the straight line, then this would mean that black would necessarily have to draw this tile over here, and then black would score 7 extra points over here. So very sad miss in the endgame. I still want to see if this would have mattered or not. So we know that 4 points is what the American would have gotten extra in this situation. Kaik is playing really precise. They are going to take a break, and oh, look at that. Only a 5-point difference. Well, it means that this mistake did not cost Croco the game, but he would have lost the game by 1 point had he done that move over there. So let's just double check. Here he scored 10. 6 for the farm, 4 for the city. Here he would score 14. He would connect to the big farm of 12 points and scored 2 points as the process. Still something that he should have found, actually. Because there was a chance that black would maybe make a mistake. No, not really. Because the moves for black were pretty easy. It's just add a point, drop a farmer. Well, that's as easy as it gets. But yeah, but you know, like, if he had just 1 more point somewhere else, then this game could have been turned around. So excellently played by the Malaysian, and I mean, also like some really, really nice moves in the middle for Croco, but I felt that the pre-end game was just played a bit more precisely by the Malaysian. For example, this sequence with the road and the city cap was just so nicely orchestrated to create that counter threat. And look at this, the Malaysian ended up winning without even drawing one of those lovely city caps. With the city cap, he would have gotten 7 points extra even. Yeah, and I think ultimately the move that made it difficult for Croco was simply failing to drop this farmer over here. Even though this farmer zone was worth only 3 points at the time, red just had to recognize the potential of it. With so many city caps still remaining, if you get a divider, you want to get that farmer in. And generally, I felt like towards the end of the game, he ended up just having so many meeples in his hand, which he only started using towards the end, whereas Kaika invested his a bit more in advance. Alrighty, so this one was a really high-point game. Victor is asking, wouldn't it be a tie? No, I don't think so. Because Croco got 10. He would have gotten 14, so he would have gotten 4 more. He would have netted 4 more, so he would have still lost by 1. So in order for it to be a tie, he would either need to like score 1 more point somewhere else, or well, yeah, he would be scoring with both city tiles, but none of them have shields because they're a city cap. So we go here, drop a farmer, that's 1 city point. We go over here, and wait. It would not have been a tie, he would have won. Because he had another meeple, duh. He would have meepled this 2-point city. and he would have won by 1 point. I just forgot that he had another meeple. You're right, he would have won. Yeah, look at this. So we get this tile over here. We drop a farmer. We connect over here through the double tile. So we've already scored 2 points for the city. And we get 2 points from this little guy. So a completely missed win from the American. Granted, of course, it was only a... was that a 16% win? Let me think. No, that was a 33% win, actually. So he would be winning either by a tie or by 1 point, depending on the order in which Kaika draws this crossroads and the straight line. So if Kaika draws the crossroads first, then it's a tie, which means a win for the American because he went second. And if Kaika draws the straight road first, as he did in the game, then it's a win by 1 point for the American. Yeah, because he had another meeple to meeple this thing. A sad miss. Like, generally, field connections through city tiles are so satisfying. Yeah, this sort of pattern is kind of rare, because you really, like, if you look at this board, like, you really don't think of this as a farming spot over here, like in the middle of the city, but it would have worked. So, for the neutral fans, of course, it's great, and for the Malaysian fans, it's great, because it means that we get to witness a third game. Let's see if this move will cost Croco not only the game, but also the match. So the third game has been already created. So where's the 3-minute break that we're talking about? So red was first in this game and already has a slight advantage. 4 points on the scoreboard for the city cap. Five points for this monastery. And ambitious construction project for black here. Croco gets a tile with which he can't really invade. But, ooh, I see a move, but it's a tricky one to find. Well, there are a couple of moves, actually. This is an option. Just starting a new city tile like this, but the disadvantage is leaving this road tile behind. Whoever gets the crossroads first, and before this move, statistically more likely it was that black would get the curve first, can get an easy 5-point road. So maybe what I would have preferred is actually a bit more of an extravagant move. Instead of the city cap, meepling the road over here, this 1-point road, preparing the building of this 5-point road, and then just dropping the city cap over here. Because the thing about that city cap, that would have been more likely to benefit red than it would benefit black, because whoever were to get points for that city cap, if it were to lie around like this, they would be creating an attacking platform against black city. An alternative move for black was to ignore the square entirely, which I don't like, but that was something to consider, and just score 2 points next to his monastery, again, pointing the city cap like this, planning to capitalize on another city cap over here, adding 4 city points and 2 monastery points in the process. The Malaysian here with a straight line, and just dumps it. But probably really not that much better that could have been done. A city is being scored by the American, and actually this one is a bit of a sneakier move than it might seem. The idea is that not only are we getting our meeple back, but actually we're trying to draw a Dorito and block that square, which would also be tying that city to the blocked square, so that would almost block the meeple of black as well. And this also means that Black cannot proceed freely with the plan that he had before. The plan was to take a city cap here, consolidate, and have a very safe square over here to finish his city. Now he probably needs to go over here to prevent an invasion or a block with a set Dorito tile. But this would still leave time for red to draw a tile that goes over here and use this platform to connect to the city. So this is how much this completed city had accomplished. Yeah, the best move for black is probably just to cover up the city. Oh, that's interesting. And also, I don't really see a reason to do that, to be honest. Well, there may be some, but it's just risking too hard to get your meeple trapped. Because the point is, yeah, if you add a city cap over here, then just having the threat of finishing your city is nice. I guess it ends up working out, as red decides to use a city cap over here anyway to connect to his city. And because that would be the case, Kaika didn't want to use a tile as valuable as a city cap for what would have been eventually a shared feature. But I like that city cap move because it's just a bit the more normal move, and because sometimes black does draw the city cap before red gets a chance to connect, and the upside seems to be worth it. Black starts a new city at the top. Really going aggressive here and maybe trying to reinvade that city in the future, or maybe draw a city plus row tile and start obstructing that square, leaving himself with a slightly winning mini battle. So more quick points for Croco as he's ahead on the scoreboard 13-0. Finally some points for Kaika, as the city on the left will be the one to be completed in all likelihood, starting a new one at the same time. On his last move, black started the roads, creating a blocking platform against this monastery, but immediately a road tile was drawn by red to make his monastery much more safe and meeple the road in the process. Finally, some scoreboard for Kaika as he does opt to go over here. Croco decides to connect to the city over here, which is rather a weak move if you ask me. Normally, connecting to cities like this is good, but you really want to wait until you get a more flexible tile. For example, such as a extender. With an extender tile, he will be threatening the connections both here, or a Dorito. Because with the Dorito, you don't necessarily have to connect. If the square gets blocked, then you can just develop your own side of the city. But now red will be forced to spend one more tile on this square, and there is even a tiny chance that this square will be eventually blocked. Quick points for Kaika, being really efficient here. Actually, I really like it. So he's not finishing his road, but he's taking 2 points over here, pointing the road end in such a way that allows him to create a 6-point loop like this in the future. Yeah, I've generally noticed something about the Malaysian player, that he seems to be really good at aggressive scoring. Or at least he tries doing aggressive scoring. That's something that not many expert level players do. So I mean players rated between, players rated over 500 but below 700. Reds connects to Black City, spends a valuable tile to do that, and also disturbs the piece of his monastery slightly, but it limits variance. It does not allow black to draw a Dorito tile and a triple city tile and block the square and have a big ruin. It does not allow black to draw a city cap here and a divider city cap here to have a 14-point city. Both not huge threats, but I also think that maybe Red figured that there weren't actually many good places where to start a new city. Yeah, so that was the reason for this move. It's like wherever he would start a new city, for example, here, that new city would be slightly vulnerable. It's great, of course, to use a shield for your own constructions, but preserving a meeple for a better day is also an option. Especially now that there's this 9-point field brewing and a fantastic tile for Croco. Yeah, so he gets a 9-point field for himself. And with the city tile, he actually manages to push Kaika away and not get access to this field. So the Malaysians start a new city with the very unveiled intention of finishing it and dropping another farmer over here. This also expands the farmer on the left, so this farmer will end up playing and still chances to get a couple of road tiles and connect at the top. So only one good move for Croco. Well, a couple of good moves, but they all connected to the same idea. You really don't want to allow your opponent to finish the city and dropping a farmer, so our only two options are going here or here. And then we need to think about the orientation of the curve as well. I probably prefer to go the more traditional route, which is exactly the kind of stuff that Red does now. Black keeps scoring, 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 draws the last horizontal divider. And finally, a monastery for Black. Wonderful stacking opportunity for Red, rather. He'll build up this road over here, the monastery like this, and he gets yet another one, and he meeples it too. So lovely monastery cluster for the American, gets road points as well, now up on the scoreboard. Kaika with some city caps, so roughly equal game. So now the plans for both sides are pretty clear. Croco is going to be trying to build up his monasteries, and he gets another one. Thinking whether to place here or here. Kaika is typing something with the chat saying what's with the monasteries, but actually, I think the best move for Kaika here was to stay silent. And I'll explain why in a second. So you see that Croco was thinking. This means that he was doubting whether it's worth to meeple the monasteries, and it is worth to meeple the monasteries. Now, if, as the Malaysian, you're typing in the chat, LOL, what's with the monasteries? That obviously implies that drawing the monasteries is a good thing. So this means that using the monasteries is a good thing. So what you're doing with your message, you're actually making it more likely that Red will decide to meeple the monasteries, which will harm Black. Because you saw that Red was thinking. And there was a chance how maybe Red would be afraid of his meeple getting blocked, and then he would leave this monastery empty, which would be such a big break for Black. Many players, when they get monastery clustered, they maybe like meeple the first two, but then they don't meeple the third one, or maybe they don't meeple the fourth one. So much of the time, it's good to meeple them even if we get up to 6, if they're closer together. This one could get blocked. But still, like, you wanna you know, like, everything that you can say can and will be used against you. This is certainly the case in Carcassonne. What a lovely move here by Croco, building up his stuff, setting up a road and trying to complete all of his monasteries. But the plans for the sides are clear. Black is dropping a farmer, trying to win this 18-point field to compensate for the monasteries and to use his temporary meeple advantage, because like eventually Red will complete his monasteries and will be ahead on the scoreboard. But if Black manages to develop the field spatially in such a way that helps him have a stronghold on it, then even with his future meeple majority, Red will not be able to reconquer the field, and then the game could be somewhat balanced. almost balanced because the monasteries are 24 points, but the field is only 18. But the field could grow in the future. Great tile for Croco. 4 points for the road, 1 monastery point, but a great tile for Kaika as well. Finally draws a monastery, and one that helps him connect all the field. He now has a majority on the 16 point, 18 point field. Croco needs to make a decision. Do we go here and attack the farmer now? I think the answer is no, because there's still another connection platform to the field over here, so we will be able to attack the field later. As red, I'm a bit worried that black could go here with a road tile and eliminate this field connection opportunity. But I wouldn't be worried about that too much, because there's still a connection opportunity through here from this side. And this move would also make black's monastery slightly more vulnerable. And this would also delay another harmful move that black could make. If black gets a straight line or a curve, black could go over here like this and actually try to block this square over here in an unusual fashion. So many monasteries have been drawn that only one of those is remaining. And if we go over here as black, then we're leaving only one monastery that fits into that square and only one vanilla city cap that fits into that square. So that's only 2 tiles. So if not a block, at the very least, that's a massive delay. Yeah, and I believe that premature is this attack on the field, because an excellent move for Kaika. This is the kind of stuff that could cost Croco the game. The reason for that is that he'll be without a meeple for a long time and he won't equalize the field anyway. Because Kaika always has this attacking platform on the left, so all you do is just a wash. Meeple here, 2 versus 1 majority, 3 versus 1 majority, that's all the same. But after this field is reconquered back, black is going to finish his road and then start to use his 1 meeple for quick point tiles. Yeah, the point of this move, which was great, was not only to restrict that square, but of course later try and continue with the blocking attack. The idea, of course, is to draw a curve and make sure that nothing fits into that square, because both monasteries have gone out. So black is trying to go for an indirect defense, limiting the number of tiles that go into this square. Now a regular curve does not fit here. Only a Dorito with a road or something like this would be the damaging tile to draw. Kaika with a regular Dorito now. Very interesting what he's going to do. Maybe here, trying to still leave that square open. So when both sides have few meeples, I really like this dance that sort of happens. So there's the critical square. There's the potential blocking square. And then there's the square next to the blocking square. We need a name for this. How do you call a square which is next to the blocking square? Or the square for the blocking square? I always use the long word, but there has to be some terminology. So if my viewers want to contribute for the development of the Carcassonne terminology, now is the chance. Like, how do you call a square like this? So the square for the blocking square. Then, if we try to restrict that, then this makes it harder for red to go here and block the blocking square. If the blocking square is more free, then there are more chance to complete the block. And what a move from Kaika. Do I like it? I probably do. So the idea of this move, even though it looks like a restriction, it's not a restriction. It is making sure that the 3 road Doritos still fit here with the orientation that would be pointing the road leftwards, which would block the 3 monasteries. So Croco now gets a tile, one of the Doritos. Obviously, he's not going to go there because he's not suicidal. I hope. And he can now not go here and defend that square. So he just forced to simply dump that tile. But I think that was a mistake. A better move was probably just going here. Because then he would have finished a shared city and at least give himself a meeple back. Now he gets a splitter tile, which would have been lovely to go over here a move ago, but now he can't. Because he would be allowing black to finish a city of his own. So I think that's a bit of a miss here. Black, in the meantime, is building his monastery and trying to get a meeple back. But I'm wondering if black actually shouldn't just go here and drop his last meeple. Because this field connection on the left is not going to be available forever. Red has extra incentive to go over here. First of all, to eliminate this field connection platform, and second, to start pressing against this monastery square to not allow black an easy meeple back. So as black, what I probably want to be doing is at some point dropping my farmer here and then hoping for a curve to finish my road later. And Croco goes for the extremely risky move, taking 4 points, but this will allow a larger point, a larger city for Kaika, so seems to be quite some short-term thinking here from the American. I mean, I can understand the purpose of this move. Wait! But that could be also brilliant. Because who said that red had to stop at equalizing the field? As red, why don't we just go here and get a 3-2 majority on the field and then close it up? And then we could win the game without getting a meeple back, and this is exactly what he does. Because look at this, he does not need a meeple back to win the game. This field is 18 points, and these monasteries are 24, and he's 9 points ahead on the scoreboard. So 9 plus 18 is 27, plus 24, 51 would be his lead. You're telling me that Kaika can gain 51 points with 2 meeples with 18 tiles remaining. That's a bit of a stretch. Okay, so he gains 7. That's a start. So only 44 points remain to equalize. Great move again from Croco, I think. Kind of trying to limit the field a little bit. A scoring tile for Kaika. He could go over here maybe, or go over here, meeple or ruin. Either are fine. Oh yeah, of course, I forgot about this 7-point monastery. So only 37 points are to be gained by Kaika. But still, how do you gain 37 points with 2 meeples? Okay, so let's say if you get a city cap here, how much would that give you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this would be turning a 6-point city into a 14-point city. So that's plus 8. Meepling a farmer plus 14. So we can get easy 14 points. And then only 23 points remain. How to make 23 points with 2 meeples? The answer is we don't. Well, I guess we probably have to attack the field, which would make us 18. And then it's easy to make 5 points with a meeple, maybe meepling this road. But it's easier said than done. Oh, lovely move by Kaika here. Just leave this open. Don't meeple anything. Don't meeple anything. Don't meeple anything, you'll be fine. And he's now trying to create a platform for attacking the field, but it won't work. As Croco gets a curved tile, not only will it complete the connection to the field, but it will also be a lovely geometrical move, blocking the opportunities to invade over here. But a great tile for Kaika. He needs to now go over here and meeple this farm. Ooh! Well, that's interesting. I'm worried about that move. I'm really worried. You know, there are really not that many city caps that fit here. Not that many at all. he's trying to finish both of these cities, but just going over here, taking the 14 points, setting another 7-point move over here, that was good enough. There is well, basically, like many countries in their folklore have fairy tales where, you know, there's a genie or some sort of magic creature that grants you wishes, and there's this person that gets this and then tries to get more wishes and more wishes and more stuff, and then at some point they are left with nothing because there's just too many wishes. Like, each culture has their version of this sort of stuff. In the culture that I grew up with, that was the characters were an old lady and a sea creature like a mermaid or something like this. I think an actual mermaid. And then after all these wishes, the old lady were left with just a broken bucket. The only thing that she got. And I wonder if black could end up with a broken bucket here. The broken bucket means 2 blocked meeples and a lost match. Well, we don't know that for sure, as red gets himself a meeple back. Gets a meeple back for black as well, who immediately meeples a lovely 10-point ruin, 9-point ruin, which also finally blocks the square completely. And my pessimistic prognosis has not been fulfilled, because despite the fact that Croco benefits so nicely from the 6-point road, a lovely 12-point city is now going to Kaika's scoreboard here. Still having doubts if that was necessary, because there were other uses for this tile elsewhere, but you know, that works. And then the threat of drawing a cap here and going for a farmer still works, and then maybe the Malaysian could even survive the loss of this field. Also interesting, after this move by red, which was a blocking attack, it does something interesting to the shape of the board. I see that 3 straight lines, or rather 2 straight lines, are still remaining. And not many crossroads are remaining. In fact, 0 T-shaped crossroads are remaining. The only crossroad is the city cap with a clover. So, somebody, namely black, could go over here, drop a farmer like this, and then connect to the main field through a straight line. So I wonder if red should recognize this opportunity and go over here. Instead, red tries to block black's monastery, which doesn't seem necessary. Black has a variety of options here. Could go over here, simply add a monastery point, still try to complete this monastery, and then maybe meeple this road if that's still possible. I don't believe that is. Or at least it technically is, but not in a productive way. So there is still 1 dagger tile that fits into that square, but this also... Oh no, there isn't. Oh, yes there is. Yes, there is 1 dagger that goes into that square, but this also happens to be the dagger that Kaika needs for the city over here to finish and drop a farmer. So maybe this 1 point is not that important. An alternative is to just go for the farm straight away and connect like this, but he goes for the third alternative, which was also a good move, taking a 6-point field with these 2 completed cities and setting up a 9-point field, because when and if he draws a city cap, there's still 2 of those remaining. He'll be finishing a city and dropping a farmer here. Croco with a scoring tile could get 3 points for the road here, 3 points for the road here, a variety of options, or he could get 2 points for the road here putting some pressure on this square, maybe hoping to block it in the future. The more I look at how black is playing this, the more it seems to me that the plan of black is maybe to try and win without the main field. Because if he just gets the city cap, he's gonna get, what, a 14-point city, drop a farmer here, and he's gonna have 15 points for 2 farms. He has a ruin over here, 1 monastery compared to his opponent's 3. And the game would be sort of kind of equal. Yeah, and I like this move by red. So trying to be a bit more flexible with his blocking opportunities. Yeah, the great part about this is that if he gets a vanilla city cap, that'll be a complete block, because that'll be the last vanilla city cap. If he gets the dagger tile, then he can actually go over here and drop a farmer instead of meepling the city. Because then if Kaika gets a city cap, he would be giving back a 9-point field to Croco. But now Kaika really needs to decide. Do we place this tile over here to try and escape from that opportunity? And if we do we drop a farmer here? Trying to basically go all in for that city, hope to draw a city cap soon enough. And in that case, dropping a farmer here would be nice, because we get those extra 6 points. On the other hand, if we don't get a city cap, it's nice to keep a meeple around to maybe try the idea of the invasion on the right, on the left rather, through a straight line. I'm inclined to the latter, because if we add a tile over here, and if we get a city cap later, we can still drop a 3-point farmer over here, which granted would be 3 points less, but maybe when it comes to our winning chances, we can take that 3-point sacrifice, and the ability to drop a farmer on the left if we have to could be worth it. 1 minute remaining for Kaika. He'll probably going to be burning a lot of time here. So you obviously should add the tile to that city. The only question is about a farmer there. Or maybe not so obviously. I know one thing he's afraid of. There is still one more tile like this. And if he adds the city cap over here, there's a chance that Croco can get the other extender and go over here, which would not allow black to complete the city. I wonder if black is considering meepling this new thing and hoping to draw both the vanilla and... Oh. Like this, huh? Very interesting. Croco just blocks this square over here, but Kaika now with a chance to invade the field. He gets one of the straight lines, which is not an ideal tile for him, but if he goes over here, he can still draw the other straight line. So 40% chance of invasion. But he would be spending his last meeple, which means that he cannot go over here, and he goes for the farm. Croco with a scoring tile could go over here, take the 4 points, or maybe not. He could also try blocking this invasion, doesn't feel worth it. Or he could go for a crazier move. How about we ignore all of that stuff and we try to go over here and drop a farmer with the idea that if you get a straight line, we can still get the vanilla city cap and connect to the main farm like this. So it's the standard type of tactic that you're kind of forcing. This would have worked! This would have totally worked! Yeah, so this is not to say that this was the best playing move, but if Croco were to go over here, anticipating that invasion, he would make sure that Kaiko would need to draw 2 tiles in order to win the game. This tile to connect to the field, and the vanilla city cap in order to deny Croco the invasion. But wait a second, wait. I think red is still ahead, like, because black will not be finishing his city. So the field is now tied, 3+3. Oh, it's so close. Okay, so 7 points for the monastery, 6 for the city, that's 13. 10 for the ruin, that's 23. 6 for the field, that's 29. -2 on the scoreboard, that's 27. 24 for the monasteries. Croco's behind 3 points. So he just needs to score somewhere, and that's it. But that's the question. How can you score 3 points? I know. You meeple this, and then the game will be decided by who's gonna draw the last extender with a shield. If he gets this tile with a shield, he gets to add 2 points to his city and win +2. If black gets it, black will add it to his ruin and get +2. Oh no. Oh no. Both tiles had a no, actually that was good. That was good too. That was a nice move. So the idea was that we will have to have that 50-50 invasion because the other tile is also a shield. Wait, this is so cool. So here's what all of that means. If we were to start this 3-point city idea, it would not work because we would be tying the game. They get a shielded tile, we get a shielded tile, and we're tied. But that is not good enough because a tie is a loss for the starting player, which is in which case is the crocodile. Crocodile, wait, what do you mean too much? He was down 3 points, right? Wait, was it 3 points? Yes, I was correct. 3 points was the difference, so we counted correctly. Yeah, so this is very interesting. So this was actually one of the several possible correct moves for Croco. So yeah, so basically the idea of going over here wouldn't work because he would be tied. Both players would get a shielded tile, and so they would both be adding 1 point. So there would be no way to get this. So Croco is saying I needed to connect with the last big tile. So this is one of the ways how he could win. So first of all, this was a tactically very savvy move because it was hoping for this big tile. And if Kaiko were to get the other tile, he would actually not be able to block that square. So the connection would have worked. But also actually, like, if you were to go over here, yeah, Croco solved it. He would lose with a tie. This is true. So he could also have an unblockable connection against the city over here, or he could just simply drop the city cap literally anywhere, and that would be flipping for this tile, and he could just take a 6-point road. So regardless of what red does in that pre-endgame situation, or that endgame situation rather, it was a 50-50 shot for the game. It just depends on some moves. Either you're hoping for the city cap, or you're hoping for the triple city tile. Yeah, so he could have connected from here as well, but it's the same probability though. Yeah, so Croco did figure out, definitely respect him for this. So, not solving the endgame in the previous game, sadly, which does end up costing him the match, but solving the endgame in this one, just not getting the tiles. So, massive credit for Kaika, who managed to reinvade this field over here and come back from an incredibly difficult situation. Okay, let me just type that in the chat. Like, incredibly difficult situation by managing to quite masterfully block these 3 monasteries first, then invading this field, then maybe going a bit too much over here, because he did end up completing this city, but he ended up missing out on this city at the top. Yes, maybe this is one of those cases where black could have played a bit simpler, actually. So with the splitter tile, had he gone over here, he would then later have a 9-point field over here, and this probably actually amounts to roughly the same amount of stuff as he has here. So, no, this could have gone both ways. This was actually certainly creative. But wait, no. This was actually brilliant on the left. I think it was an unintended consequences, but look what happened. So, Red, first of all, just like played excellently dropping his last meeple over here. Like, the idea of winning without meeples and winning a big field despite a long-term meeple minority was excellent. And it was super close to working. And it was working at time. And it was working at the time. But what happened was, black started building the city over here. Red at some point drew a curve to attack the city. But this curve created this sneaky attacking platform from this square, which later allowed black to drop a farmer over here and connect to the farm in a decisive fashion. So, it's really interesting how you can have these unintended consequences in Carcassonne. So, you know, both players are thinking about the city, but it ends up influencing the field so much. Yeah, and then at the end of the game, the end game was pretty much played perfectly by both players. Black was going for what he had to go for, and Red also was going for what he had to go for, so very even there. And it is the Malaysian who wins the coin flip and is going to the main stage of the tournament. Is that the first time that Malaysia will be in the main stage of the Carcassonne Champions League? I'm not sure if they were there last year. Actually, I want to look at this. Players. Yeah, no Malaysia last year, so congratulations on putting Malaysia on the map, at least when it comes to this tournament. Hi, Kaika, congrats on your win. Certainly most spectacular one. Now, what I want to do is just simply to go over here and see the standings. No, Q2-2 is the thing. Yeah, so Kaika now winning, going on straight to the main stage, and Croco of the US will be playing in the consolidated finals against Hognai of Norway. Should also be an interesting match. So much so that after today's game, I think the American will be a slight favorite. Although the Norwegian is also pretty good, but that should be interesting to watch. Oh yes, Kaika, there's just so many interesting things about that game. Yeah, really, that last one. Well, I will certainly spend a lot of time talking about it. Yeah, the stream has been for over 2 hours. So, we will be wrapping this up. Let's just have a look at which matches we have next. Now, I will be taking a break from streaming due to some personal plans, so these matches I won't be covering. Probably not going to be appearing much in the next few days. I am playing in the consolidated finals of Qualification 4 against the Rising Star Miss Penguin of Taiwan. That's on 29th of December, and I'm not going to stream that. Maybe somebody else will. But closer to the end of the year, 28th, 29th of December, this is when I'm also planning to stream some games as well. I'm pretty sure we're going to have some finals, consolidated finals, all those decisive events left for the last couple of days of the tournament. So then that's going to be it. Make sure to meeple the like button. That's important for the algorithm more than you might think. In case you want more competitive Carcassonne like this, subscribe and click the bell notification. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.